Alright, so I've showed you some really basic Ajax, and we really haven't done much. So I guess you can call it Ajax because we did pull off running something behind the scenes here, but we want to really do something neat with it. So let's first correct these errors that we found here. Let's go back to Aptana. And now I remember why this won't work. Our config/connection is actually in the front end here. So I need to add another set of dot dot slash. So save this and let's go back over to Firefox really quick. And we'll refresh the page, which actually we didn't need to do, but I'll tell you about that later. That's another cool feature of Ajax. We didn't really need to refresh it because each time this button is clicked, it's going to reload that page behind the scenes. So that wasn't really necessary. So I'm going to click on this, click here, and there's our response. No more error. So that's cool. Now let's do something with that. Before we actually delete anything, I want to show you how we would actually delete it from the admin, which would be different from actually removing it completely through the MySQL. But this is the step that's going to have an after delete. And the reason I'm doing this kind of backwards is because I want to be able to test these things without actually literally deleting pages. Otherwise we have to keep creating new pages to test. So bear with me as we do this kind of backwards. So to do this, we're going to start by I'm going to give you an example of how this works. We're going to use the remove method to remove this from the page. So we're going to get our little query thing set up here for JQuery, and we're going to use the this selector for this example. This dot remove. So this will just give you an example. Let's save this and hop over to your browser. Refresh the page and click on the delete button. Okay, so you can see that it did something, but it didn't necessarily do exactly what we wanted it to do. It just removed the delete button because that is what, quote, this is. So we need to figure out a way to actually remove this whole list item. And there are some tricky ways to use these selectors to navigate backwards, but in this situation, I'd like to actually give the whole list item an ID itself. So let's go back over to pages.php and let's use this same concept here of the ID equals delete underscore or del underscore and then the ID, and let's do that with this div up here. So we're going to do ID equals, and we'll just call this page underscore, and we'll go ahead and just copy this right here. So now each one of these is going to have a unique ID. So let's save that. Head back over to our js.php, and for this remove, let's change that to, put our quotation in here, hashtag for ID, page underscore, and now we need to get that ID number kind of locked in by itself. So really quick, we're going to run something up here. We're going to make another variable, say var, and we'll just call this page ID equals, and we're going to run this split method, which is kind of like a find and replace in PHP. And we're going to say selected, which would be referring to this up here, which holds that del underscore ID number, split. Then in here we want to put in what we want to remove, so del underscore, and then we're going to run this dot join. Just put an empty string in there. So this is basically like a find and replace. It's going to grab this and then pretty much replace it with nothing, returning just the ID number. So now down here for page underscore, we can do concatenation and page ID, so it's going to spit out that ID number. So now this selector is pinpointing that particular page or item div that's holding all this page information, the title, these buttons, the description, etc. Save that, refresh our page, click on delete, and there you go. Now it's gone. Now we actually, if we refresh the page, that comes back. So, like I said, we're doing this backwards. We actually want to run the MySQL that we're going to write soon here to actually really delete the page. Then this will run and remove it from the visible page here. So it actually feels like you really deleted it. And once that query is in here, unlike what I'm doing right now where I can refresh and everything comes back, it won't come back because it's not in the database again.